AITA for telling my mom she's not welcome in my home until she apologizes to my wife. I honestly don't know how I got here. If someone had told me a few years ago that I'd be writing to a bunch of strangers on Reddit to figure out whether I'm the asshole for banning my own mother from my house, I would have laughed, or maybe cried. My mom raised me. She sacrificed a lot for me growing up. I don't want to be that guy who forgets everything his mom did the moment he gets married. But I also can't keep living in a house where my wife flinches every time her phone rings, praying it's not another text from my mom. My dad was always there, but barely, not in the way that mattered. He went to work, came home, nodded at dinner, and let mom run the show. Growing up, I thought that was normal. That dads were supposed to be background noise. My mom wasn't a bad mother. Let me say that up front. She wasn't abusive in the traditional sense. I wasn't hit, locked up, or starved. But if you've ever grown up with someone who believed they were always the smartest person in the room and never wrong, she was a queen of guilt trips. She'd say things like, "I guess I just wasn't a good enough mother if you don't want to spend Christmas at home. If your father had a real backbone, you wouldn't be this soft. Do what you want. I won't be around forever anyway." When I was younger, I thought this was normal. I thought all moms talk like that. But college opened my eyes. Lena opened my eyes. Lena and I met in college. I was 22, she was 20, and we met in a class neither of us really cared about. I thought she was too cool for me. She thought I was charming in a barely knows how to talk to women kind of way. It worked. It was easy at first. Lena's family is different. Her mom sends her random voice memos saying she loves her. Her dad once sent her a photo of a burnt pancake and captioned it Chef Life. They're weird in a wholesome way. They bicker, but there's no venom in it. Being around them felt like stepping into a completely different world. The first time Lena met my mom was during Thanksgiving, our first year dating seriously. Lena had insisted we bring a dessert, a homemade pumpkin cheesecake. She spent 2 hours baking. She was so proud of it. We walked into my parents' house, and my mom barely looked at her. "You must be Lena," she said, not even pausing from folding napkins. Then she looked at the cheesecake and went, store-bought would have been safer. Pumpkin's tricky. That was it. I laughed it off, trying to smooth the edges. Lena smiled politely, but I saw her hands clench the plate just a little tighter. On the way home, she didn't say much. Then, right before we got to her place, she said, "Your mom doesn't like me." I told her she was overreacting. God, I wish I could take that back. Over the next 3 years, it was a drip, drip, drip of tiny insults, harmless critiques, and death by 1,000 passive-aggressive cuts. When Lena got a new job, oh, a graphic designer? Must be fun to color all day. When we moved in together. Well, I hope you two are praying before bed. When Lena cut her hair short. Not everyone can pull that off, sweetie. But good for you for trying. I confronted my mom a few times, gently. Each time, she made me feel like I was crazy. "You're reading too much into things. That girl's too sensitive. I'm just being honest. Would you rather I lie?" So I stopped bringing it up. I told Lena to ignore her. She's old school, I said. She doesn't mean it. Lena never told me to cut my mom off. Not once. She just pulled back. She stopped coming to family dinners unless she had to. She smiled less. She didn't fight me, but she started protecting herself. I don't blame her. Fast forward to last year. I proposed to Lena. It was simple, just the two of us in our apartment with takeout and candles. She said yes. It was perfect. We decided to host a small engagement party. Nothing crazy, just friends and family at our place. I was nervous about Mom and Lena in the same room, but I thought maybe everyone would be on their best behavior. That optimism lasted exactly 38 minutes. Lena had made a little photo collage that showed our relationship timeline. First date, trips, moving in, proposal, etc. It was sweet. We had it displayed near the entryway. Everyone loved it, except my mom. She pulled me aside and hissed, "This whole thing is a little self-indulgent, don't you think? I mean, you're not celebrities." I snapped, not yelled. I'm not a yeller. but my voice dropped cold. Can you please just say something nice for once? For her. Mom's face hardened. She walked out. No goodbye. No explanation. After the engagement party, Lena sat me down. No drama. No ultimatums. Just quiet exhaustion. I'm not going to ask you to pick sides, she said. I don't want that. But I can't pretend this isn't hurting me anymore. And if we're going to build a life together, I need to feel safe in our home. I need to know you got my back. I told her she did. But inside I was torn. This is my mom. But she's also the woman who has never, not once, apologized for the way she speaks to Lena. I found out later she told my aunt she couldn't stand watching her son throw himself away on a girl who clearly doesn't respect family values. I didn't tell Lena that part. 3 weeks ago, things finally went too far. Mom texted me on a Wednesday afternoon saying she was in the neighborhood and might stop by. I replied quickly, told her Lena had a packed day and we were both exhausted. I asked if she could wait until the weekend. She didn't respond. Instead, she showed up 2 hours later unannounced with a bag of snacks and that fake smile energy that always means she's about to stir something up. Lena had just wrapped up a virtual client meeting and was clearly fried. She wasn't expecting company. She had her glasses on, hair thrown up, no makeup, just decompressing on the couch with tea and a blanket. Her version of recovery mode. I was still in my office when I heard the front door open. I muted my call, walked out to greet her, and before I could say anything, I heard my mom say, loud enough for both of us to hear, "Ah, you look so cozy. This is what happens when no one teaches you how to host properly." Huh? Lena raised an eyebrow, but didn't take the bait. She said, "Hi, Evelyn," and offered a small smile. I stayed silent. Not the hill to die on, not yet. Then came the real blow. Mom plopped down on the armchair, looked around, and said, "This place could use a woman's touch." I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? If you grow up without a mother, you probably never learn these things. Silence. Lena froze. I turned slowly to look at my mom. She laughed, that tight, dismissive laugh, and added, "Oh, come on, don't look at me like that. I'm just joking. You know I have a dark sense of humor. Let me explain something clearly. Lena lost her mom when she was 8. It was sudden, medical. She doesn't talk about it much, even with me, because the pain is still there. She grew up with her dad, who did everything he could, but Lena has always carried this quiet, invisible ache, like a part of her life started with a crack in the foundation. And my mom knew that, because Lena told her. 2 years ago, in a moment of rare vulnerability, when she was trying to connect. And now here she was, sitting in our living room, mocking her for it. Like it was a punchline. Lena stood up slowly and said, "I'm going to get some air." She walked onto the balcony and shut the door behind her. My mom watched her go, smirking slightly like she just won a game no one else was playing. I turned to her and said, dead calm, "Get out." She blinked. "What?" "Leave. Right now." She scoffed. "Oh, don't be dramatic. I was joking. You two need to grow thicker skin. You made fun of her for not having a mother. You took something painful and personal, something she trusted you with, and turned it into a cheap shot." "Please," she said, waving her hand. "That girl wears her trauma like a badge. She needs to get over it." And I don't even remember moving, but suddenly I was standing right in front of her, hands shaking. "You are not welcome in this house again. Not until you apologize. Sincerely. Directly. No jokes. No spin. Just the truth." She stood, stunned for half a second, and then narrowed her eyes. "You're choosing her over your own mother?" "I'm choosing basic decency. I'm choosing my wife. Yes, because she has never, not once, made me feel small. Unlike you." Mom's expression changed, like a mask cracking. "I gave up everything for you, and now some girl who barely knew her own mother has you thinking she's the victim? She didn't choose to lose her mother. You, on the other hand, choose cruelty every single day." She left without another word, didn't slam the door, didn't cry, just walked out like nothing had happened. Since then, I've gotten a steady drip of texts. They all say some version of the same thing. She's old. She doesn't know better. She's just blunt. It's her personality. Don't throw away family over one bad joke. But it wasn't one joke. It was years of erosion, 1,000 paper cuts. And this time, she cut deep enough that I felt it, too. Lena hasn't brought up again. She's quiet, tired. But I can tell she's waiting, not for an apology, but to see whether I really meant what I said. And I did. But still, I keep wondering, did I go too far? Should I have handled it differently? Is it really worth cutting off my own mother? So, Reddit, AITA for telling my mom she's not welcome in our home until she apologizes to my wife. Update. It's been 3 weeks since my mom walked out of our home and out of our lives, apparently without a word. No apology. No olive branch. Just silence and fallout. Lena had quietly opened up to her about losing her mom at age 8, and my mother turned it into a casual punchline over tea. I told her to leave. I told her not to come back until she gave a real apology. She hasn't. But that hasn't stopped the rest of my family from rushing in to take her place. It started 2 days after the incident. A text from my sister, Julia. Julia. Mom said you kicked her out? Seriously? What happened? I didn't reply immediately. I needed time to think. Julia and I aren't close. We orbit around each other holidays and exchange birthday texts. That's about it. She's always been Mom's favorite, partly because she never pushes back, never questions a family script. But she kept messaging. Julia. She's been crying for 2 days. Julia. Can you just talk to her? Julia. You're being cruel. I finally responded. Me. She mocked Lena for not having a mother. To her face. In our home. Julia. It was a joke, right? Me. It wasn't funny. Julia. You always take everything so seriously. Me. Because it is serious. Then silence. Lena hasn't asked for updates. She hasn't said much at all, actually. She's functional, friendly, cordial, but distant in that quiet way that tells you something inside her is still bleeding. I tried to bring it up a few nights ago, told her again that I meant what I said, that I'd stand by her no matter what. She nodded, kissed my cheek, then went back to editing a client brochure on her laptop, like it was just another Tuesday night. I asked her if she was okay. She said, I'm okay. I just feel exposed. Like she reached inside me and flipped on a light I didn't ask for. It crushed me, because I knew what she meant. When you lose a parent as a kid, there are holes in your history, and people who still have theirs don't always understand how deep those holes run. Lena carries hers with grace, but my mother dug into it with purpose, and I let her in long enough to do it. My dad is a ghost in most family stories. He exists quietly on the sidelines, doesn't rock the boat, but out of nowhere, he called me last weekend. Hey, son, thought I'd check in. That's how I knew something was wrong. My dad doesn't just check in. I braced myself. Your mother is upset, but you probably knew that. She's not the one I'm worried about, I said. He sighed. One of those long, bone-deep sighs that said he hated being in the middle but didn't know how to step out of it. She didn't mean it, he said. She says it came out wrong. Then why hasn't she said that to Lena? Silence. She's waiting for you to reach out, he said eventually. I laughed bitterly. She's the one who crossed the line. I'm not dragging Lena through a fake reconciliation because she's waiting to be pursued like a damn royal. Another sigh. She's old, son. Stubborn. She might not change. Then maybe this is how things stay. You really willing to throw away your relationship with your mother over this? That was the question, wasn't it? Not was she wrong. Not, does Lena deserve better? Just, is this worth the nuclear option? And honestly, I don't know. I never wanted to cut her off. I just wanted her to see Lena as human, to treat her like family. But I guess that's not what she wants. My dad is a ghost in most family stories. He exists quietly on the sidelines, doesn't rock the boat. But out of nowhere, he called me last weekend. Hey, son, thought I'd check in. That's how I knew something was wrong. My dad doesn't just check in. I braced myself. Your mother is upset, but you probably knew that. She's not the one I'm worried about, I said. He sighed. One of those long, bone-deep sighs that said he hated being in the middle but didn't know how to step out of it. She didn't mean it, he said. She says it came out wrong. Then why hasn't she said that to Lena? Silence. She's waiting for you to reach out. He said eventually. I laughed bitterly. She's the one who crossed a line. I'm not dragging Lena through a fake reconciliation because she's waiting to be pursued like a damn royal. Another sigh. She's old, son. Stubborn. She might not change. Then maybe this is how things stay. You really willing to throw away your relationship with your mother over this? That was the question, wasn't it? Not was she wrong. Not, does Lena deserve better? Just, is this worth the nuclear option? And honestly, I don't know. I never wanted to cut her off. I just wanted her to see Lena as human, to treat her like family. But I guess that's not what she wants. The next hit came via an invite. Julia is pregnant. 7 months. We got the baby shower invite in the mail with a cute little poem and pastel colors. At the bottom, hosted with love by Grandma-to-be Evelyn. I guess we were still on the guest list. I texted Julia. Me, are you sure you want us there? Julia, of course. This isn't about Mom. Me, she's hosting it. Julia, don't make a scene. Just come and be civil. Be civil. I showed the invite to Lena. She stared at it for a long time, then quietly said, if you want to go, I understand. But I'm not walking into a room where she's a host. Not unless she sees me. Sees you, really sees me. Not as the girl who took you away. Not as the orphan or the artist or the outsider. Just me. I nodded. Then we're not going. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. Just put the invite back on the counter and said, okay, and walked away. Late last night, I got an email from Mom. Not a text. Not a call. An email, like a formal memo from HR. The subject line. For what it's worth, it read, I'm sorry you feel that what I said was inappropriate. It was meant as humor. I did not intend to hurt anyone. I hope one day you can understand that families make mistakes. If Lena is still upset, that's unfortunate. But I won't grovel over a joke. Life is too short for grudges. You're always my son. I love you, Mom. I didn't reply. I showed Lena. She read it once, closed the laptop, and whispered, so she doesn't even get it. She's right. It wasn't an apology. It was a statement of ego disguised as olive branch. I'm sorry you feel bad. Not, I'm sorry I made you feel bad. I keep thinking about that moment in the living room. The look on Lena's face when Mom made the joke. Not angry, not shocked, just tired. Tired of being dismissed. Tired of being treated like an outsider. Tired of me trying to mediate instead of protect. And now I'm tired, too, of being the son stuck between a mother who weaponizes affection and a wife who deserves peace. Update. 3 nights before the baby's shower, Lena made pasta for dinner. We barely spoke. I could feel the silence between us stretching thin, like if I touched it, it might tear. After dinner, I sat beside her and said, we don't have to go. I don't care what anyone says. If it means putting you back in that room with her, we're not doing it. She looked at me carefully, like she was trying to read between the lines. Are you saying that because you think it's right? Or because you think it's what I want to hear? That question sat in the air like smoke. I swallowed and answered honestly. I'm saying it because I won't put your pain on pause so I can play happy family. Not again. Her eyes filled just slightly, but she blinked it away. Okay, she whispered. And that was it. We didn't go. I texted Julia that morning to let her know we wouldn't be attending. I didn't give an excuse. I didn't lie. I just said, hey, we're not coming today. I hope everything goes well. Tell the baby we said hi. No reply. Later, I checked Instagram. I know I shouldn't have. Julia had posted a carousel of photos from the shower. The balloons, the pastel cupcakes, the glowing smiles. There was Mom front and center, beaming like nothing had ever happened. And under one of the photos was the caption, family means showing up even when it's hard. Ouch! That was for me. Obviously, passive aggression runs in the family. But the weird thing is, it didn't sting the way it used to. It just felt sad. Because I realized something as I scrolled. I didn't miss it. I didn't feel left out. I didn't feel like I betrayed some ancient blood oath. I felt relieved. Then Julia called. She waited 2 days. Then she called. I was tempted not to answer, but I did. So you couldn't even bother to show up, she said, skipping hello entirely. I told you we weren't coming. Yeah, I saw. And Mom saw. And the whole family saw. Good. Maybe now they'll see what she did. You mean how she made one comment and you lost your mind? That did it. No, Julia. I mean how she weaponized Lena's trauma. How she humiliated my wife in her own home. How she spent years undermining every boundary I've ever tried to set. There was a pause. I heard her take a breath. She's never going to apologize, you know. Not the way you want. Then I guess she won't be in our lives. So you're just going to cut her out completely? Over a bad joke? It's not about the joke. It's about the pattern. The disrespect. The refusal to grow. Another pause. This time longer. She's devastated. Julia finally said, softer now. So is Lena. You think Lena's perfect? That stopped me cold. No, I said, but she's kind and honest, and she's never once tried to hurt you. Can you say the same about Mom? Silence. Then the line went dead. She hung up. We haven't spoken to my mom since. She didn't reply to Julia's photo captions. She didn't acknowledge our absence. I think, in her mind, we don't exist right now. That's how she punishes people who won't fall in line. But I'm okay with that, because for the first time in my life, I'm not bending to keep the peace. I'm building it in my own home with the woman I chose, who chose me back. We're not perfect, but we're honest, and that means something. Update. 2 weeks after the baby shower, I was at a cafe downtown. Just me and Lena tried to escape the weight of everything for a few hours. We were sipping coffee, barely talking, when suddenly a voice behind me, sharp, familiar, said, "So this is where the good son hangs out now?" I turned slowly. There she was, Mom, her eyes scanning the room like she expected a standing ovation. Lena stiffened next to me, her jaw tight. I stood up. Mom, didn't expect to see you here. I could say the same. Thought I'd come say hello. After everything, I'm here to fix it. Her voice was calm, but had that edge, the one that made me want to take a step back instead of forward. How exactly? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. By telling you that you're being dramatic. That Lena is too sensitive. That families fight, and it's time to get over it. That's not a fix, I said. That's a reset button you don't get to press. People in the cafe were starting to stare. Lena grabbed my arm and whispered, "Let's go." We left before it could get worse. That night, after Mom's walk-in, Lena finally broke the silence. She told me about her mother, the real, raw truth she's barely spoken about. She wasn't perfect, Lena said quietly. She made mistakes, but she was there. She saw me, even when I was a mess, even when I was angry or sad or scared. I lost her suddenly, and it felt like the whole world blinked out. She paused. I'm scared, sometimes, that if I let my guard down around your mom, I'll disappear again. Like I don't matter. Like I never mattered. It hit me hard. This wasn't just about a joke anymore. It was about a history of feeling invisible. I'm here, I said, holding her hand. And I see you. Update. Lena told me she was pregnant. She looked at me, nervous, scared, glowing in that subtle, almost invisible way she does when she's vulnerable, and said, "Is this okay?" I looked up at her, and I swear it was like something inside me clicked into place. Not just joy, not just love, but something heavier, protective, final. "It's more than okay," I said. "It's everything." And I meant it. But I also knew, right then, that there were decisions to make, not about names or cribs or paint colors. Not yet. About walls, boundaries, who gets in and who stays out. Because this wasn't just about Lena and me anymore. It was about protecting a child. And for the first time in my life, I knew, with zero hesitation, my family wouldn't be part of that protection. They'd be the reason for it. We told people slowly, carefully. Then, of course, the news leaked. I don't know how it happened. Someone's cousin. Someone's Facebook slip. Maybe Julia. Maybe my mother still has her claws in someone's group chat. But one morning, I opened my phone and saw 12 unread messages. Most of them from people I hadn't heard from in months. Heard the big news. Congrats. When's a baby shower? So excited for your mom to be a grandma. She must be over the moon. No, she wasn't. Because she's not going to be a grandmother to my child. She forfeited at the moment she mocked my wife's grief like it was a party trick. The pressure came fast. First, it was Julia. Julia. So are you going to call Mom? She wants to talk. Me? No. Julia. You're really going to have a baby and not let your own mother be part of it? Me? Yes. She tried again a week later. Julia. She's making quilt. She's trying. Me? She can keep it. Then came my aunt, the same one who once told me Lena was a little cold. Now she wanted to send us a care package from the whole family. I declined. People don't get to tear you apart and then mail you a casserole and a blanket and call it healing. I told Lena that night. We were lying in bed. Her hand was resting on her belly, still barely showing, and I told her that I wasn't letting them in. Any of them. Not now. Not later. Not unless something changed in a real, tangible way. And she looked at me, eyes glassy but clear, and said, "Are you sure?" I nodded. I've spent too long making excuses for people who never learn how to love without strings attached. I won't let that pattern touch our kid. I won't let them grow up thinking love should hurt first and heal later. She nodded slowly. Then she whispered, "Okay, then this baby has everything it needs." Of course, the silence didn't sit well with my mom. She sent an email 2 weeks after the leak. Subject line, "I deserve to know." It was 2 paragraphs of bitterness wrapped in faux concern. She wrote, "I may not be perfect, but I'm still your mother. I have a right to be part of my grandchild's life. Don't rob them of a loving family over your pride." I didn't reply, because what she still doesn't understand is this. Love isn't a right. It's a privilege, and it's earned through accountability, not bloodlines. We drew the line, and we're not stepping back over it. This child is coming into a world where their parents chose peace over obligation, where we don't just break cycles, we bury them. So yeah, my family knows, but they're not coming back into our lives. Not with fake apologies, not with gifts, not with tears, only with real change. And if they can't do that, then they can stay exactly where they are. Outside,